Welcome back everyone. In our last lesson we've discussed about the page object model and we created our first pump for the create account page, and in this lesson we are going to discuss about navigation and how we can create a generic way of navigating through our application, again using something similar to a page object model. Now if we go to our application over here, you can see that in our sign up test, what we do is click the account and then we are trying to click on create account link. Now, what I want to do is create like a generic navigation method for accounts where we would be able to navigate through all the links over here, having the same method and passing a simple argument. To start with, I'm going to focus on create account and sign in buttons. So how are we going to do this? First, I'm going to create a new page object and I'm going to call this account navigation. So let's go back to our test. And under the pages package, I'm going to create a new class and I'm going to call this account navigation page. Okay, now if you remember from the last lesson, we need to create a constructor and we need to pass the page as an argument. Let's import this and we need to declare over here private final page and we will call it account navigation page. Okay, and here we need to instantiate this with the argument passed through the constructor. Okay, so we've already done this in our previous lesson. Now I want to build a generic method and let's call this navigate2, and here I would like to pass an argument. For now I'm going to use a string and let's call it location, and I want to write some code over here that will be able to navigate to the different links in my account menu over here. Okay, so let's start by reproducing the logic that we already have for clicking the create account button. I'm going to go to the sign up test and copy these two rows over here. Okay, I believe I've messed up. Let me just copy them again. Okay, so instead of this page, I'm going to use the account navigation page. Again, as in our previous lesson, I'm going to create some constants for my selectors. The first one will be account button. These are strings, by the way. Okay, I'm going to copy this selector over here. Okay, so the first click is to click the account button that will expose the other links that are available for navigation. So this is what we are doing in our first row in this method. And in the second one, I'm going to need some sort of logic where I just pass something like sign in, like a string called sign in, or create account or orders, and my method automatically knows which link to pick from these ones. Let's see how to do this. So right now the selector I am using, it's specific to the create account button. Okay, let's inspect these elements. Okay. So sign in. Come on. So the sign in has a link, a href link, and then it has the sign in value. Okay. The create account follows the same pattern. If we move down, let's go to orders and purchases, for example. Again, it is a link and it has a text between it. Okay, so immediately I'm thinking about a pattern where I just pass this text and the rest will be a selector that knows to go to a link in this menu. Let's go up a bit to check the box where this is all fitted in. So I can use something like the account menu. Okay, this could work. So let's try to write some code. So this is called account menu, this class for this div. Now this time I'm going to use XPath selectors. I'm just going to write them over here. So I want to go to this div that has a class of account menu. Okay, and afterwards I want to go to a link, and for this link I'm going to check the text, and I want it to be equal to a value that I'm going to pass as a parameter. Now, how are we going to pass this parameter? Let's use string format. The string format, I don't know if you are familiar with it, but you can pass these wildcards, these templates, and then you can just substitute them with arguments over here, and I can use the location, the string location from here. So what this will do is it will replace this wildcard over here with a string that I'm passing as an argument to the string format method. So this will resolve depending on what argument I'm passing over here to different locators, to different selectors. Okay, let's try this out. So let's use this account navigation page and use it in my sign up test. I'm going to delete the 2 rows over here, and I'm going to initialize my new page over here in my setup method. Okay, and create a new instance over here. Account navigation page equals new account navigation page, and pass the page, the same page object, the same page instance that I've passed my create account page. Perfect. And now let us invoke the navigation in our test. So account navigation page, and I want to navigate to, and I'm going to use create, let's copy the exam name, otherwise it won't work, create account. Perfect. Okay, let's see if this actually works. So what it will do, it's going to click the account button, and then it will try to click the link that has a text of account, of create account, like this one. So hopefully it will click this one. Okay, I'm going to run my test, put a debug point before we try to fill in the form. So if I debug this, I'm expecting that I will arrive at the create account page, which is that form with all those fields. Let's also clear the imports that were left here from previous tests and give this a try. Okay. So now my page loads. So click the account and then the create account. And if I go back to my browser, you can see that we've successfully navigated over here. Now, let's say that I want to navigate to the sign in button. Let's see what happens. So I can click sign in and it will bring me to this sign in page. Actually, all the links in this menu, if you are not logged in, it will bring you to the sign in page for now. So let's try to also navigate to this sign in link using our generic method. I'm going to duplicate this line, comment it for now, because I want to restore it after we do this check. So instead of create account, I want to go to sign in. Let me check if that's the same value. Come on. Okay. Let's stop our test and debug it again. So hopefully this time it will navigate to the sign in form. Okay. Click the account button and then click the sign in link. Or not. So this will give me an error because this is a strict check and I've typed in with a small letter. Okay. We could wait for the timeout error. So it will say that it didn't identify any elements. But since we know the error, let's try it again. That was my mistake. Okay. Let's see if we have better luck this time. Okay. And it worked this time. And we've navigated to this sign-in page. Perfect. Okay, so let's now try to bring this even, to make this even better. So you can see over here I'm passing these strings to navigate. But let's try to do this in a better way. And what I'm going to do is create over here a new enum. And I'm going to call it account entries. And here we are going to store only one value. So let's store the actual display name. So we will have string display name. And since we've declared this, we will need to create a constructor for our enum account entries that will take one argument, which will be a string of display name, and I'm going to pass this and so. Perfect. And now let's store our actual values. So at this point we have create account and sign in. Okay, let's create these entries for our enum. Create account, and this will have, let me copy it from the test so I don't make any more errors. So you will see the point of this very soon. And then have an extra value for sign in, and this will be this value over here. Perfect. And let's also generate a getter method for my display name. Okay, so how can we use this and why did I create this? Basically, when you will write your test, you can actually invoke, instead of, let me comment this line, instead of passing here a string, you can actually pass the account entries enum and then specify specific value like create account. Now I want to change my navigate to method, and instead of receiving a string, it will receive this time the account and the account entries enum. And here, instead of a string, I'm going to use that specific item and call the getDisplayName method, which will return me the actual value we are storing in here. Perfect. So I have one issue over here where I need to invoke, just invoke the item like so. Okay, so what's the advantage of doing it like this is you don't have to worry about typing in the specific link, and if that ever changes, so let's say you have 10 tests again, instead of writing over here a string like create account and somebody will go and change that value, if that happens, you can just go to your enum and change it over here, and automatically all your other tests will run. Also, when I want to navigate to a different part of the account menu, I can just invoke this account entries enum and choose the place where I want to go, sign in, create account, and we can add links for everything here, account, orders and purchases and so on. Perfect. So one more change I would like to make is in my navigate method, I've hard-coded this selector over here, but I want to follow the pattern where I store all my selectors up here. And the way I want to do this is I'm going to store it as a template. Let's call it account links template. Store everything we have here. Great, and then just pass this account links template to the string format function. Perfect, this looks better. Okay, let's give it another try. Go to our sign up test. And you can see we've reduced our test to only 3 lines of code. So I'm going to navigate, I'm going to insert a breakpoint on the last line and check that everything still works as before. Okay. And it does.